In 2003, a mutated cordyceps fungus triggers a global pandemic, leading to societal collapse. Joel, his daughter Sarah, and brother Tommy flee their Texas home, but tragedy strikes when a soldier kills Sarah. 2 decades later, Joel resides in a Boston quarantine zone known as a QZ, controlled by the Federal Disaster Response Agency, aka FEDRA. He survives as a smuggler alongside his partner Tess. When communication from Tommy in Wyoming ceases, Joel and Tess try to buy a car battery from a local dealer named Robert. However, they are scammed when Robert sells the battery to the Fireflies, a rebel faction opposing FEDRA. Joel and Tess try to reclaim the battery, only to discover that the Fireflies have killed Robert and his men in a shootout after realizing the battery was faulty. They then meet Marlene, the leader of the Fireflies, who begs them to escort a teenage girl named Ellie to the Massachusetts State House in exchange for a working truck. As they attempt to sneak out of the quarantine zone, they encounter a soldier who conducts an infection test. When the soldier attempts to test Ellie, she stabs him in the leg with a knife. Joel beats the guard to death when he raises his gun, remembering his daughter Sarah. Tess picks up the infection tester and realizes Ellie tested positive. Ellie emphatically claims that she is immune to the infection. The 3 of them leave the QZ zone. 2 days before the global outbreak, government officials in Jakarta, Indonesia, present an infected corpse to a mycologist. After examining it, she grimly declares there is no cure or vaccine and advises bombing the city to halt the spread. In the present, Ellie tells Joel and Tess that she is being taken west in hopes of helping develop a cure. Realizing the direct route to the State House is overrun by infected, they detour through a history museum, where they are ambushed by blind infected creatures called clickers. Although Ellie is bitten, they manage to escape. At the State House, they discover the Fireflies are dead. Tess reveals she has been bitten while Ellie's wound begins to heal, confirming her immunity. When Joel kills an infected, it alerts a swarm to their location. Accepting her fate, Tess persuades Joel to take Ellie to their allies in Lincoln, Massachusetts. She then sacrifices herself by detonating explosives, killing both herself and the approaching horde. Joel and Ellie set out on foot to meet Bill and Frank, passing grim reminders of the government's execution of civilians during the pandemic's early days. Flashback to 2007. Frank, fleeing Baltimore, stumbles upon Bill's fortified compound. Despite Bill's initial wariness as a self-reliant survivalist, he reluctantly offers shelter. Over time, the two form a deep bond, united by their love of music and good food, eventually starting a romantic relationship. Years later, Frank reaches out to Tess by radio, establishing a cautious friendship between the two pairs. In the present, Frank is terminally ill, and after marrying Bill, requests assistance in ending his life. Heartbroken but resolute, Bill decides to die alongside him, unwilling to live without his partner. When Joel and Ellie arrive, they find a letter from Bill, expressing how protecting Frank gave his life purpose and leaving all their supplies to Joel and Tess. Before leaving, Ellie secretly takes Frank's pistol. Equipped with Bill's truck, Joel and Ellie continue their journey to find Tommy. While traveling through Missouri, Joel and Ellie detour through Kansas City and fall into an ambush. Joel kills 2 attackers, but is nearly choked to death by a third until Ellie shoots the man with Frank's pistol, saving him. Joel grabs the pistol from Ellie and finishes off the third attacker with a knife. Soon after, other bandits discover the bodies. Their leader, Kathleen, suspects Joel and Ellie might be aiding Henry, a man she is hunting, and orders an aggressive search. Joel talks to Ellie about handling a pistol and, despite his hesitation, reluctantly hands it back to her. Meanwhile, Kathleen's enforcer Perry, while searching for Henry, uncovers a hidden threat growing beneath a building, but is ordered to keep it secret until Henry is captured. Joel and Ellie take shelter for the night in a high-rise apartment, hoping daylight will offer a safer path out of the city. However, they wake to find Henry and his younger brother Sam, holding them at gunpoint. Henry and Sam form a cautious truce with Joel and Ellie. While Joel prefers they part ways, Henry proposes escaping the city together through a series of underground tunnels only he knows. Reluctantly, Joel agrees, During their journey, Henry admits to Joel that he betrayed Kathleen's brother to Fedra in exchange for medicine to treat Sam's leukemia. Meanwhile, Ellie and Sam quickly bond. After navigating the tunnels, they come under fire from a sniper positioned in a high window. Joel sneaks around and kills the gunman, only to discover he had been radioing Kathleen. She arrives with her militia, determined to kill Henry. Before she can act, a massive horde of infected erupts from underground, including a towering bloater that kills Perry and a child clicker that attacks Kathleen. After narrowly escaping to a motel, Sam reveals to Ellie that he was bitten on the leg. The next morning, he succumbs to the infection and attacks her. Henry, devastated, shoots Sam before turning the gun on himself. Heartbroken, Joel and Ellie bury them and quietly resume their journey west on foot. 3 months after Henry and Sam's deaths, Joel and Ellie arrive in Jackson, Wyoming, where they find a thriving community, and Joel reunites with his brother Tommy. Tommy's wife, Maria, reveals she is pregnant and later informs Ellie about Sarah's tragic death. Joel privately shares Ellie's immunity and his growing self-doubt with Tommy, fearing he can no longer protect her. He asks Tommy to take Ellie to the fireflies instead. Overhearing the conversation, Ellie confronts Joel, who insists they will separate. However, Joel later changes his mind, stirred by memories of Sarah, and decides to continue the journey with Ellie. They travel on horseback to Colorado, where they find the Fireflies' base abandoned, with signs pointing to a possible relocation to a hospital in Utah. As they attempt to leave, a group of raiders ambushes them. Joel kills one attacker, but is stabbed during the struggle. Although they manage to escape, Joel collapses from his injuries, falling off their horse, leaving Ellie desperate and unsure of how to help. Ellie and a gravely injured Joel seek refuge in an abandoned house. Fearing for his life, Joel urges Ellie to leave him behind and save herself. In a flashback, Ellie recalls her time at a Fedra military school, where she often caused trouble and clashed with fellow students. Her best friend Riley had run away and been missing for 3 weeks. One night, Riley sneaks back into their dorm and reveals that she has joined the Fireflies. She invites Ellie to explore an abandoned mall, where they enjoy a photo booth, arcade games, and a carousel. Riley confesses that the Fireflies are sending her to Atlanta, making this her last night in Boston. Although upset, Ellie persuades her to stay, and they share a kiss. Their joy is cut short when an infected ambushes them. Ellie kills it, but both girls are bitten during the struggle. Tearfully, they choose to stay together, waiting for the infection to take hold. Back in the present, Ellie refuses to abandon Joel. Finding a sewing needle, she begins stitching his wound in a desperate bid to save his life. Ellie leaves a recovering Joel to search for food. After wounding a deer, she tracks it through the snowy forest and encounters a preacher named David and his companion James. She trades the deer for penicillin to treat Joel's infection. During their conversation, David reveals that the man who attacked Joel was part of his group. Alarmed, Ellie quickly returns to Joel with the medicine. The following day, David and his men track Ellie to her hideout, seeking revenge for their fallen member. To protect Joel, Ellie draws them away but is eventually captured and taken to David's camp. There, she discovers his horrific secret. He has been feeding his group human flesh to survive. Meanwhile, Joel regains consciousness and, despite his weakened state, captures and tortures 2 of David's men to learn Ellie's location. Back at the camp, David and James prepare to kill Ellie, but she fights back, killing James and escaping. David pursues her, eventually cornering her inside a burning community center. He attempts to assault her, but Ellie savagely kills him with a meat cleaver. Outside, Joel finds a shaken and traumatized Ellie. He holds her close, offering comfort as they leave the horrific scene behind. In a flashback, Ellie's mother, Anna, is bitten by an infected while giving birth to Ellie. Before her death, she is found by Marlene, who, at Anna's request, reluctantly takes Ellie and ends Anna's life to protect her daughter. In the present day, Joel opens up to Ellie about his failed suicide attempt after Sarah's death. Later, Firefly soldiers capture Ellie, and Joel is knocked unconscious. When he wakes up in a hospital, Marlene explains that doctors are preparing to perform surgery on Ellie, hoping to develop a cure from her immunity. Joel protests when he realizes the procedure will kill her. Marlene orders his removal, but Joel escapes and kills several Firefly soldiers, even those who surrender, and murders Ellie's surgeon for resisting. Joel then carries Ellie out of the hospital, but Marlene intercepts them, pleading that there is still time to find a cure. Joel shoots and kills her without hesitation. When Ellie regains consciousness, Joel lies to her, claiming that the Fireflies had failed to develop a cure from other immune individuals. As they continue their journey to Jackson, Ellie presses Joel to swear that his story is true. After he does, she responds simply with, "Okay,"